Hello and welcome. I am Big Joe, your storyteller, here for your magical show called Animal Tales, creatures big and small. And today I have four stories for you about some animals that are very big, some animals that are very small, and some animals that are very big and very small. You'll see how in a moment. Our very first story is one of those stories that has a big animal and a small one. This is the story of the teeny tiny fly and the great big whale. I'll tell it to you. Now, let me introduce you to the characters in my story before we begin. This is my whale. Hey, how you doing? Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. I'm a whale. Hi there. How you doing? Let me introduce you to the other character in my story. This is my fly. His name is Flip. Hey, everybody. Are you going to fly for everybody? Yep. All right, go ahead. No, get out of my ear. Sorry. Nope. Get out of my eye. You. Get out of my nose. Oh my goodness. Well, all right, well. Ew. Now, this is the story of the teeny tiny fly and the great big whale. I'll tell it to you. Once upon a time, there were three brothers. Their names were Ned, Ted, and Ed. And all three brothers lived in a little house by the ocean. They had a pet dog whose name was Sparky and a pet fly whose name was Flip. Now, Ned, Ted, Ned, Flip the fly, and Sparky the dog all lived in that house. And all three brothers were fishermen. And every day they'd go out and catch fish. Well, one day it was Ed's turn to go out and catch fish. And he went and he threw his line in the water. Zip. Ooh, I'll get a bite. Oh, let me see what I caught. Let me see what I caught. I caught a boot. Yeah, that's not a fish. Zip. Ooh, let me see what I caught. Let me see what I caught. I caught a tire? No, that's not a fish either. Hey, wait. Zip. Ooh, let me see what I caught. Let me see what I caught. I caught some underwear. Ooh, that's not a fish. When all of a sudden, up from the water, there came a great big whale. Yep. And the whale looked at Ed, and the whale said, "Who are you?" And Ed said, "My name is Ed." And the whale said, "Oh, yeah? Well, you look like lunch to me." And the whale opened his mouth, and the whale went, "Gulp!" and swallowed up Ed. And there inside the whale's belly was Ed. Help! Right on there was Ted and Ed. They looked at their watch and they said, "Man, look what time it is. Where is Ed?" Ted said, "You know what? I got to go find him." So Ted went out and Ted yelled, "Ed, Ed, Ed, where are you?" And all of a sudden, up from the water, there came the great big whale. Yep. And the whale looked at Ted and the whale said, "Who are you?" And Ted said, "My name is Ted. I'm looking for my brother. What'd you do, big whale? Did you eat him?" And the whale said, "I ate your brother. That is true. And now I'm going to eat you." And the whale opened his mouth, and the whale went, "Gulp!" and swallowed up Ted. And there inside the whale's belly was Ted, "Help!" and Ed, "Help!" Right on there was Ned. Ned looked at his watch. He said, "Man, look what time it is. Where is Ted and where is Ed?" He said, "You know what? I got to go find him." So Ned went out and Ned yelled, "Ted, Ed, Ted, Ed, where are you?" And all of a sudden, up from the water, there came the great big whale. Yep. And the whale looked at Ned, and the whale said, "Who are you?" And Ned said, "My name is Ned. I'm looking for my brothers." "What'd you do to big whale? Did you eat them?" And the whale said, "I ate your brothers. That is true. And now I'm going to eat you." And the whale opened his mouth, and the whale went, "Gulp!" and swallowed up Ned. And there inside the whale's belly was Ted, "Help! Ed, help! And Ned, help!" Well, at home there was Sparky the dog, and Sparky started to sniff. Sparky said, "Hey, where's everybody? Where's Ted? Where's Ed? Where's Ned? Oh, I got to go find him." And so he went out sniffing and sniffing. He got down to the dock and he barked out, "Ted, Rolf, Ed, Rolf, Ned, Rolf, where are you?" And all of a sudden, up from the water, there came the great big whale. Yep. And the whale looked at Sparky, and the whale said, "Who are you?" And Sparky said, "My name is Sparky the dog. I'm looking for my friends." "What'd you do, big whale? Did you eat them?" And the whale said, "I ate your friends. That is true. And now I'm going to eat you." And the whale opened his mouth, and the whale went, "Gulp!" and swallowed up Sparky. And there inside the whale's belly was Ted, "Help! Ed, help! Ned, help!" And now Sparky the dog, woof, It looked like all hope was lost because the only one at home was a teeny tiny fly named Flip. It's the smallest one of all, let me tell you. And Flip was flying around. Yep. Get out of my ear. Nope. Get out of my eye. Nope. Get out of my nose. Ew. Mouth. Really should do the mouth before you do the nose. You ever think of that? Mouth, then nose, because otherwise it's like really disgusting. Yeah, quiet. Really, seriously, stop. Well, Flip said, hey, where's everybody? Where's Ted? Where's Ed? Where's Ned? Oh, man, I got to go find him. So he flew down to the dock. And he got there, he yelled, Ted, Ed, Ned, Sparky the dog, where are you? And all of a sudden up from the water, there came the great big whale. Yep. And the whale looked at Flip and the whale said, who are you? And Flip said, my name is Flip the Fly. I'm looking for my friends. What'd you do, big whale? Did you eat them? And the whale said, I ate your friends. That is true. And now I'm going to eat you. Now, everybody else will be very afraid if a big whale want to eat him, but not Flip, because Flip had a plan. You see, Flip knew the whale was going to eat him. He couldn't close his mouth on him like everybody else because the whale's mouth was too big and Flip was too little. He was going to eat him. He's going to have to stick out his tongue and wrap it around Flip. And that's just what Flip wanted. So Flip said, all right, you want to eat me? Go right ahead and eat me. And the whale said, huh? You want me to eat you up? Nobody wants to be eaten up by a whale. He said, yeah, go ahead. I dare you. I double dare you. I triple dare you. He said, okay. So the whale stuck out his tongue, wrapped around Flip. And when he did, Flip put his plan to action. Flip started to flap his wings. Then he started to flip his legs. Then he started to flutter his belly. When he flapped his legs, flipped his wings, and fluttered his belly, started to tickle the whale's tongue, and the whale started to laugh. He laughed so hard that he opened his mouth really wide. And when he did, out jumped Ed, whip. Then out jumped Ted, whip. Then out jumped Ned, whip. Then out jumped Sparky the dog, whip. And last on jump out Flip, he bounced off the whale's toot, doing, and flew away. Well, when he got back home, they were so happy with Flip, they made him his favorite dinner, which was spaghetti and garbage. No, it's spaghetti and meatballs. Spaghetti and tuna fish. Nope, it's spaghetti and meatballs. Spaghetti and smelly socks. All right, look. It's spaghetti and meatballs. What? Spaghetti and meatballs. Gotcha. Spaghetti and meatballs. Exactly right. And they made it up and he ate it up and they all lived happily ever after. And that is the end. All right, on to our next story. Our next story is another story about something very small and something very big. We have a spider and we have a coyote, but not just any spider, not just any spider at all. We have a spider named Anansi. Now, Anansi is a character in folk tales around the world, and Anansi is a trickster. He's very sneaky, very tricky, and very greedy. And when you're greedy, you want all the things. And this little spider causes big trouble. And now I'm going to tell you a story called Anansi Races Coyote. And here it comes. Once upon a time, deep, deep, deep in the desert, there was Buzzard. Buzzard was a bird with very big wings, a very long neck, a very sharp beak, and two very big claws. And in those very big claws, he was carrying a picnic basket, for he was going on a picnic with Mrs. Buzzard. And inside that picnic basket, there was ham, there was corn, there was potato salad, and there was yummy chocolate pudding. And as he was flying along, all of a sudden he got a tickle in his beak. And that tickle turned to a sniffle. And that sniffle turned to a sneeze. And Buzzard went, achoo! And when he sneezed, his claws opened up and the basket fell down and down and down and down and down and down and down. And Buzzard said, oh man, Mrs. Buzzard's going to be mad. Gotta go get another basket. And he flew off to get another basket. Well, as he did, that basket fell down and down and down and down, and it hit the ground with a thud, thud. Well, when it hit the ground, Anansi the spider heard that thud and came rushing on over. And he looked and he saw that basket. He looked inside. And there it was full of food. There was ham, there was corn, there was potato salad, there was chocolate pudding. And he licked his lips and he said, oh man, oh man, oh man, I am going to eat good tonight. Oh yes, I am going to eat good tonight. But all of a sudden, he heard another voice. It was Coyote. And Coyote saw that basket fall too, and he came rushing on over. And he looked inside and said, whoa, look at all that food. He said, oh man, I am going to eat good tonight. Oh yeah, I am going to eat good tonight. And Anansi came up, he said, no. I saw this basket first. This food belongs to me. And Coyote said, no way, man. I saw it first. It belongs to me. He said, no, I saw it. I get to eat it. He said, no, I saw it. I get to eat it. Now, usually, as I told you, Anansi is very sneaky and very tricky. But on that day, he was feeling kind of good. So he said, you know what? There's a lot of food in this basket. How about if we just share the food and we both get to eat some of it? And Coyote scoffed. Puh. He said, me? Share with you? I don't think so. I am not sharing the spider. No way, no how. That wasn't very nice, was it? Well, Anansi said, all right, fine. We'll figure out who gets it. But you know what? We have to figure out how to do it. Maybe we could have a contest. Me against you. Coyote said, don't worry. Doesn't matter what contest we have. I'm going to win. I'm bigger than you. I'm stronger than you. And I'm faster than you. Well, that was true. Coyote was bigger than him and stronger than him and faster than him because he was a little tiny spider. But you know what? Anansi was very smart and Coyote wasn't smarter than him. And he said, fine, we can do it. He said, all right, well, let me think. He said, I know. Let's have a race. Me against you. And the winner gets to eat all the food. Coyote said, bring it on, man. I don't care what race we have and where we're going because I'm going to win. He said, I wouldn't be too sure of that, buddy. All you have are 4 legs. Me, I have 8 legs. I have 8 legs. I have 8 legs because I am awesome. I'm very, very awesome. And you stink. Hey, you stink. He said, all right, where do you want to race? He said, well, you see that cactus way down there? The one way down there? Yep. The one way down there. He said, yeah, I see it. He said, all right. We'll race from here all the way to that cactus and back. And whoever gets back first is the winner. He said, all right, call it. He said, okay, here we go. Ready, on your mark, get set, go. And when he said go, Coyote took off. He ran fast. He ran really fast. He ran super fast. He ran so fast he was a moving blur. He ran so fast his paws barely even touched the ground. He ran so fast he left a big cloud of dust behind him from running so fast. Well, he ran and he ran and he ran and he ran and he ran. And after a while, he wanted to look back and see how far back Anansi was. And he looked back over his shoulder and he couldn't even see Anansi at all. And he said, I am way too fast for him. And he put his head down and kept running. He ran fast, really fast, super fast. Well, after a lot more whiles of running, he wanted to look back and see how far back Anansi was. And he looked over his shoulder. Couldn't even see him at all this time. All he could see was a big cloud of dust behind him that he made from running so fast. He said, oh man, I am so fast. That spider's just back there eating my dust. Yep, he is eating my dust. Well, you know what? Anansi wasn't eating Coyote's dust. You know what Anansi was eating? The food. You see, when Anansi said go, Coyote took off. But Anansi stayed right where he was. And while Coyote ran across the desert, Anansi crawled in the basket and ate all the food. Well, when Coyote got back, he looked around, he said, I can't even see him. Boy, he's gone. I wonder where that spider is. And all of a sudden, from inside the basket, Coyote heard, burp. And he looked inside. And when he did, there was no food. There was no ham. There was no corn. There was no potato salad. There was no chocolate pudding. All there was an Anansi spider lying on the bottom of the basket with a big fat belly. And Coyote said, hey, you tricked me. So what do you have to say for yourself? And Anansi said, burp. And he looked and he said, oh man, Coyote, I am stuffed. I could not eat another bite. Man, that food was good. That was delicious. He said, hey, congratulations on winning the race, by the way. Good job. He said, ooh, look at the time. Look at the time. Gotta go. Bye. And he turned around and ran away. Well, Coyote was too tired. He couldn't chase after him. All he could do was lie on the ground and howl. Ow, ow, ow. Well, Anansi went home and he was very happy because even though Coyote had won the race, it was Anansi that got the real prize and got to eat all the food. And that is the end. Now, being our show of animal tales of creatures big and small, I'm going to tell you a story with a very, very small creature. In fact, the smallest one I own, so small I can't even find him. Where is he? Up there. There she is. There we go. All right. There is my aunt. This is my aunt. Hello. This is my aunt named Anna. Yep. And this story is called I Blame You. Now, when you blame someone, that means you tell them that they did something. Maybe they took something of yours. Maybe they ate something of yours. Maybe they did something that you didn't like. And you could say, I blame you. That means you did it. And this is a story of my friend Anna and her cake. Once upon a time, my friend Anna was making a cake for her friend's birthday because her friend was having a birthday and she made a wonderful, beautiful cake. And she took that cake and it was very beautiful. It had pink frosting and all kinds of delicious things on it. It was so sweet and wonderful. And she took that cake and she was heading out to go and see her friend. But as she was going, a drop of water came flying through the air, landed right on Anna and Anna's cake, and Anna's cake fell down and went splat. And Anna was very upset. Anna said, "Who did that?" Well, she looked around and looked around and looked around, and there was a puddle. And she went over to the puddle and she said, "Puddle, I made a cake for my friend and now it's ruined and I blame you." And the puddle said, "I'm very sorry. It wasn't my fault. I was just sitting here minding my own business when all of a sudden an acorn came flying out of the tree, landed in me and made me splash. So it wasn't my fault. It was the acorn." Well, Anna said, "Well, then I'll just go find the acorn." So Anna went to go find the acorn. Well, she found the acorn and she said, "Acorn, I made a cake for my friend and now it's ruined and I blame you." And the acorn said, "It wasn't my fault. I was just sitting up in the tree hanging out." Get it? Hanging out because I'm an acorn. Well, he said, "I was hanging out in the tree when all of a sudden a squirrel came running up, knocked me out of the tree and I fell down. It wasn't my fault. It was the squirrel." Anna said, "Well, then I'll just go find the squirrel." So Anna went to go find the squirrel. And she found the squirrel. And she said, "Squirrel, I made a cake for my friend and now it's ruined and I blame you." And the squirrel said, "I'm very sorry. It wasn't my fault, all right? I was just sitting there having a good time when all of a sudden this fox came running through the grass and scared me and I ran up the tree. So it wasn't my fault. It was the fox." Anna said, "Well, then I'll just go find the fox." So Anna went to go find the fox. And she found the fox. And she said, "Fox, I made a cake for my friend and now it's ruined and I blame you." And the fox said, "I'm very sorry, but it wasn't my fault. I was sitting there in the grass grooming myself, having a wonderful time, when all of a sudden all these bees came flying through the grass and it scared me away. So it wasn't my fault, it was the bees." Anna said, "Well, then I'll just go find the bees." And so Anna went to go find the bees. And she found the bees and she said, "Bees, I made a cake for my friend and now it's ruined and I blame you." And the bee said, "Hey, wasn't our fault, all right? We were making honey in our hive like we always do. And all of a sudden this bluebird came and knocked into our hive and shook it and we all ran out. So it wasn't our fault, it was the bluebird." Anna said, "Well, then I'll just go find the bluebird." So Anna went to go find the bluebird. Well, she found the bluebird and she said, "Bluebird, I made a cake for my friend and now it's ruined and I blame you." And the bluebird looked and she said, "I'm very sorry, but it wasn't my fault. I was sitting there on a branch of a tree having a wonderful day when all of a sudden a deer came flying through and running really fast right through all the bushes and scared me. And I scared and I flew away. It wasn't my fault. It was the deer." Anna said, "Well, then I'll just go find the deer." So Anna went to go find the deer. Well, she found the deer and she said, "Deer, I made a cake for my friend and now it's ruined and I blame you." And the deer looked and he said, "I'm very sorry. It wasn't my fault. I was sitting there eating some berries off this bush and something behind that big bush gave a great big sneeze. So whatever's behind that bush caused all your trouble." Well, Anna said, "Well, then I'll just go find what was behind that bush." And Anna was very excited because she was going to finally find who caused all the trouble. So she went behind the bush. And she went behind the bush, and there behind the bush was a great big anteater. Now, anteaters, of course, eat ants. And she looked at that anteater and she said, "Anteater, I made a cake for my friend and now it's ruined and I I think I'm going to go home and make a new cake now. Bye. And she ran away. Ah! And she ran and she ran and she ran and she ran, she ran, she ran, she ran, she ran, she ran all the way back home. And when she got home, she made her friend a brand new cake. And when she made that cake, she took it to her, but she went another way because she knew if she got eaten by that anteater, she would have nobody to blame but herself. And that is the end. Voila. All right, now we have one more story for you. And this last story is a story about a bear and a chipmunk. Now, being a story about animals, and we have big animals and small animals, I want to have one more story where I had a big animal, a bear, and a small animal, which is a chipmunk. And I'll introduce you to the characters in my story. Here they all are. We'll start with Bear. This is Bear. Somebody's been eating my porridge. No, nobody's eating your porridge. What? We're not doing that story. We're doing another story. Doing a different story? Yes. Oh, so somebody's been sleeping in my bed. Nobody's sleeping in your bed, dude. We're doing a different story. We're doing Bear and Chipmunk. We're doing a totally different story. Different story, different story. Oh, I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down. That's not even you. You're not even in that story. What? You're not in that story, okay? We're doing Bear and Chipmunk. You're Bear. I'm Bear. You're Bear. I'm Bear. Yeah, they know you're Bear. I'm Bear. Yes, we know you're Bear. I'm Bear. Please stop saying that. I'm Bear. Yes, we know. We know you're Bear. I'm Bear. Please stop. That is Bear. Now let's hope this goes a little better. This is my friend, Chipmunk. I am Karate Chipmunk. You are not Karate Chipmunk. I am Karate Chipmunk. No, we've been through this already, okay? You are not Karate Chipmunk. You are regular Chipmunk. Hiya, put your paw down. Hiya, put your other paw down. Hiya, put both paws down, please. Hiya, hiya, hiya. What are you doing? I'm breaking your arm. Hiya, stop. Now break your giant nose, and all the boogers will come out. It'll be like a really gross piñata. Hiya, put it down. Attention, children watching the video. I am Karate Chipmunk, master of karate, a generally cool kind of guy, very talented, very good. And Big Joe stinks. Stop it. Hiya, put it down. This is the story of Bear and Chipmunk, Karate Chipmunk. Now, this is the story I'm about to tell you is a Native American tale. And the Native American stories are often how and why stories, because before people had science, before people knew things and studied things, people just wrote stories to explain why things happen in the world, why the sky is blue, why the grass is green. And this is a story that's going to tell you something about Bear and something about Chipmunk. And being an animal story of big and small creatures, we have a big bear and a little chipmunk, and the story goes like this. Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, there was Bear. Yep. And Bear was very different than he is today. Now, if you see a bear, bears keep quiet. They stay in the woods. They live in caves. They live in dens. But a long time ago, Bear was very different. Bear was very proud of himself. Yes. Because he was very big and very strong. And he was one of the few animals that could walk on his hind legs just like a human could. Yep. And he would walk around the forest looking at everything and bragging about himself all the time. Well, one day he was out there and he was bragging about himself as he usually did. And he walked around and Bear said, "Oh, yes, I'm the greatest. I'm the fastest. I'm the strongest. I'm the meanest. I'm the cutest. And on the forest, nobody is better than me. Oh, yes, I am the best. I am the very best. Yes, I'm better than that animal over there, that one over there. I am the best. Oh, yes, I am the best." But all of a sudden he heard a voice, and the voice said, "No, you're not." Bear looked around and Bear said, "Who said that? Who dares say anything to me? I am the best." And the voice said, "No, you're not." He looked down and there sitting on the rock was a chipmunk. And he said, "Chipmunk, how dare you make fun of me? I am the best." Chipmunk said, "No, you're not." And Bear said, "I can do anything. Anything I want." He said, "Watch this." And Bear went and grabbed a tree and pulled it up by its roots and threw it across the forest. Chipmunk said, "Big deal. That tree is probably dead before you even picked it up." He said, "Yeah, watch this." And he went over and grabbed a great big boulder and lifted it up over his head and put it back down. He said, "Big deal. My uncle could do that." He said, "How dare you make fun of me? I am the best." Chipmunk said, "Oh, no, you're not." And he said, "All right, smart guy, tell me something I can't do, and I will do it. I will do anything." Well, Chipmunk sat there and thought for a couple seconds, and he said, "All right. You know how the sun comes up over the horizon every morning?" "Yes." I bet you can't stop the sun from coming up. And Bear said, hey, if I wanted the sun to not come up, the sun would not come up. He said, yeah, right. He said, all right, you meet me here tomorrow and I will show you. I will stop the sun from coming up. He said, all right, let's see. Well, Chipmunk went home and told Mrs. Chipmunk what Bear was going to try to do. And Mrs. Chipmunk told Mrs. Badger. Mrs. Badger told Mrs. Beaver. Mrs. Beaver told Mrs. Squirrel. And Mrs. Squirrel, she told everybody. She's like a gossip. She likes to talk. And news of what was happening got all around the forest and to everybody's ears. And everybody knew what was going down. And everybody was very excited to see if Bear could really stop the sun from coming up. Do you guys think the bear can stop the sun from coming up? I don't know. I don't know. He's very strong and very, very big, but I don't know if he could stop the sun. Let's see. The next day came, and just before sunrise, all the animals had gathered around the ridge to see if Bear could really stop the sun from coming up. And Bear saw all the animals gathered, and he came through. He said, hey, everybody, how you doing? How you doing? Hello, 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 hello. Hey, glad to see you, glad to see you. Oh, hey, Fox, how you doing? Hey, Moose, how's it going over there? Hello, hello, Elk. Hey, how you doing? And so he went on over. And he went before the animals. He said, all right, everybody, I'm going to stop the sun from coming up today. So I hope you don't mind that there's going to be no sun because I am stopping the sun. Yep. And so Bear looked out over the horizon and he cleared his throat. And Bear said, son, this is Bear, the meanest, strongest, fastest, cutest ant on the forest. I am telling you, don't come up today. Don't come up. All right, that'll do it, everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. But all of a sudden, over the horizon, they got a little bit of red in the sky. And the sky got a tiny bit brighter. And Bear saw that. And Bear put on a meaner voice. And Bear said, son, this is Bear, the meanest, strongest, fastest, cutest ant on the forest. Perhaps you didn't hear me the first time, but don't come up today. Don't come up. All right, that'll do it, everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. But all of a sudden, the red in the sky got replaced with a bit of orange. The sky was getting a little bit brighter. And Bear got a little bit nervous. And Bear put on a meaner voice. And Bear said, son, this is Bear, the meanest, strongest, fastest, cutest ant of the forest. I'm telling you, no, I'm ordering you. Don't come up today. Don't come up. Well, even though he was being mean and strong, the orange in the sky got replaced with a bit of yellow. And the yellow sky was getting brighter in the sky. It was getting brighter and brighter, and Bear got very nervous. Bear put on his very meanest voice, and Bear said, son, this is Bear, the meanest, strongest, fastest, cutest ant of the forest. I demand you do not come up today. Don't come up. Now, even though Bear was being mean and strong, the sun was indeed starting to come up, and the animals couldn't believe their eyes. And they were whispering to each other and pointing to each other. And some of them were very happy that he couldn't do it. And the happiest one of all, man, he was Chipmunk. Oh, yes. Chipmunk was very happy. He started to giggle. Then he started to chuckle. And soon he started bouncing from one paw to another paw, from one paw to another paw. And Chipmunk started to sing, Bear can't stop the sun, Bear can't stop the sun, Bear can't stop the sun, Bear can't stop the sun. And all the animals clapped along with him, and Chipmunk was singing, Bear can't stop the sun, Bear can't stop the sun, Bear can't stop the sun, Bear can't stop the sun. Well, Bear got very, very angry, and he reached right down and grabbed Chipmunk. And he picked him up, and he said, Chipmunk, you've made fun of me for the very last time. Now I'm going to eat you, and you will never see the sun come up again. Hiya, put it down. I will karate chop the very stinky bear. Hiya, put it down. Well, Chipmunk put his little paws together, and he looked up at Bear, and he said, oh, Bear, oh, kind, sweet Bear, please spare my life. Oh, please. Well, Bear was big and strong, but also very kind and generous. He said, fine, I will spare your life. And he put Chipmunk back down. And Chipmunk bowed down low before Bear and looked up at Bear with humble eyes. And Chipmunk said, Bear gets up the sun, Bear gets up the sun, Bear gets up the sun. And Bear growled, roar, and chased after Chipmunk. Chipmunk ran down the road as fast as he could, and Bear chased after him. And just before he got down his hole, Bear took his claw and scratched right down Chipmunk's back. That really hurt. I'm dead. You're not dead. I'm dead. You're not dead. I'm dead. You're not dead. You're talking to me. I'm a ghost. You're not a ghost. I'm the ghost of Karate Chipmunk. Woo, please stop. Woo, please stop. Woo. So, as I was saying, woo, get down there. Well, Bear went back, and all the animals were laughing at him and pointing at him and making fun of him. Bear got very embarrassed, and he ran off to the forest and found a place to hide. Well, from that day to this day, bears keep quiet and keep to themselves because they know that there is something that they can't do. Well, as for Chipmunk, if you look down Chipmunk's back right to this very day, you'll see 3 big stripes. And that's a mark where that bear's claws scratched that chipmunk so long ago. That's to remind Chipmunk to not make fun of anybody bigger than him, especially not a great big bear. And so ends the story of Bear and Karate Chipmunk. Thank you very much. And that is the end. Now, I want to thank you all for joining me. Thank you for listening to my stories. I have plenty of stories. I am Big Joe, the storyteller. I do all kinds of shows, libraries, where you're probably watching this video right now. I do birthday parties. You might be watching it there. You might be watching it somewhere else at school. You might be watching it somewhere, but no matter where you're watching it, I will be there because I tell lots of stories for lots of friends of all ages. So thank you for having me. I was Big Joe, your storyteller. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful day.